All right, we're going to take a look at the price action on the NASDAQ and actually the Russell too for this morning, December 10th, 2021. It is a Friday. Um, yeah, there's a few little runs here and there. Not a great day. Some inflation data came out early this morning and kind of messed with the market, and it was just kind of a little bit all over the place following that. As you can see, Russell had a nice clean, couple nice clean downtrends. And so I want to take a look at that. But let's zoom in on the NASDAQ real quick and see what's going on. So right at market open, we had a buy. We had 2 and 3 minute support printing going into the open, and then first bar was a green neutral bar, and then we got this bar that came down, tested 3 minute support. That was rejected, and then so it continued to the upside, and and you would have been in right here at around 288. Um, got to a high on this bar of 323 before quickly reversing, and quickly, almost 50-point reversal right there. Um, Probably still would have been in it if you were in at 88, because it reversed back down to about 74 before continuing back to the upside to a high of about 328. Kind of a surprise on this one that it did not continue after this kind of pullback to take out some stops and then continue the upside is what we see often. Was not the case whatsoever. And like I always say, opening 10 minutes or so of the market, you never know what you're going to get. So sure, you can put some risk on and reap the reward within a couple minutes typically, but you can also put the risk on and get stopped out pretty quickly as well. So that was the opener for today. Followed by that, we got a sell signal right in this area, about 252 and change, maybe 252 and a half. Got the close below, obviously below 2 minute support and below 3 minute support. And so we're in right there at 252 and change. Got down to a low of 205, and then reversed off that level pretty quickly. Came all the way back up to about 56 and a half, so right around where you got in at. Might have gotten in right here for the conservative entry, given the fact that this is when the 3 minute bar closed. So that would have been maybe 245 or so. But nothing really just came of this trade. If you were in there, you're locking in 10 points here. If you're in here, you're locking in maybe 15 or so points before you would have been stopped out. Just no follow through on both of these trades. Kind of figured you get follow through there, didn't happen. Couldn't quick trend down, a little pullback. Figured we get some follow through there, and then it stopped right around that 203, 205 level. Where were we at? It's almost 7 o'clock. As you can see, we're on a 15-minute buy, and that was coming right into 15-minute support. So it's always good to check. That's why I have this 15-minute chart up here, just to kind of have an idea of where we're at relative to the larger time frame, the 15-minute. We're going right into that 15-minute support, and look at that. It held very, very strongly. That support was at 25, so it was around here, and just couldn't break through that level. Maybe, yeah, I didn't really have a sweet spot in here at all. Maybe there, but kind of getting pretty far away from the resistance level. So that was the first two trades there. Another trade right here that barely broke above 3 minute resistance, and just nothing happened there. No follow through. Maybe in around 08 and a half. It would have been, came all the way back down here. Likely would have been stopped out when it comes in all the way down this level. Probably had a stop more like up in this area. So stopped out on that one. Nothing really going so far. This is probably one of the better trades of the day, I'd say. Yeah, this was probably the better one. So right around 7:30 or so, a little after 7:30, we're getting a short. maybe 244.5. Maybe you waited for some more qualification around this 234 and change, maybe 235. You short there, quick acceleration to the downside, but then came up and then just kind of consolidated, bounced around before accelerating again to the downside. Got to a low of 165. We were in at 235. So that's a nice run there. You would have had a 2 green bar exit right there. So I'm going to be out around 199, in at 2, let's call it 235. So 36 points, pretty solid little run right there. Another good little sweet spot right here. Came up, tested 1 minute resistance, came down. We got a red bar. Oscillator had turned red. Boom, short there at 183.5. 2 green bar exit, maybe gave you 20 points or so. So about 50 points on this sweet spot plus the initial entry. So that was the best trend of the day probably. Definitely recouped this loss. Just maybe a 10-pointer, and recouped any loss you might have at the open. So slightly positive for the day. Nothing to be too excited about, but that's just the way it is. Kind of choppy action. You can see when we get like some crazy action like this, some data came out and the market's responding to that. So, we had a lot of really good trends at the beginning of the week, and the last couple days, closing out the week, were just so-so days. But real quick before I close out, I want to zoom in. I'm going to just go full screen on this Russell chart. Similar situation where that data affected the market when it was released, 5:30 or so in the morning, West Coast time. But look at these clean trends on the Russell. I think I'm going to pay closer attention to the Russell next week. Kind of choppy at the open, kind of caught in between support and resistance, chomping around. But then look at this clean sell signal right in this area. Maybe you're in here, maybe you're in down here. Let's say you got down here at 29.2. You took some heat up to 31.7. When I'm trading Russell, I like to use a 3 or 3.5 point stop. I've found in my back testing that is tight enough to not have big losses, but also large enough to let the trade breathe. And for the most part, when you get these good trends, typically they don't go against you too much. The Russell trends nicely when it does trend. So let's say we were in here, 233, 2 green bars right here. But just look at these red bars, just trending down nicely, just trudging along. Another 2 green bars down here. This would have stopped us out maybe around 218 or so. We were in at 233. So that's a nice, 12, 15 point run right there. That's about, I think, $750 with the Russell contract. So that was a clean opening trade. Just kind of be patient. Short, boom, let it accelerate for, and just kind of trend down for maybe, what is that, 20 minutes or so. Just a nice little downtrend, and then just clean action, comes back up, tests these resistance level at the 3 minute, gets rejected there, and then just trickles down. And I actually was keeping my eye on Russell on this one and jumped in right here at 218, maybe 218.5 with some slippage. Got to a low right here of 211 and 0.2. Reversed a little bit and then just kind of sideways action before accelerating more towards the downside to a low of 196. So in at 218.5, low of 196. Just really clean action on the Russell relative to the NASDAQ, where you kind of maybe you get in, you get whipsawed a little bit before it goes down. Just clean trends. Your entry bar, you get in and you just don't take too much heat. It's going in that direction, and that's kind of how the price action has been on the Russell this week. So I'm going to pay closer attention and maybe more actively trade the Russell going into next week. But that's going to do it. That was the price action for Friday, December 10th, 2021. Have a good weekend.